Before we dive in, a quick shout out to the community that makes this possible. This show is brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network, a space where everyone is heard, loved and welcomed. To support the creators and find your next favourite show, please visit yourunpodcast.com.
You want to die tonight?
Late at night, I tune into your show, where you talk horror with a unique flow. Your voice is like sirens, draws me in, as you pick apart movies on murder and sin. Scott and Mark set the scene. I hang on every word lost in the screen. Your passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Mark's fucking long roundups. You run podcasts, horror movie review, sharing facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after you fled. You run podcasts. You run podcasts.
I was confused.
I was very confused. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the You Run Podcast Horror Movie Review. My name is Scott,
My name is Mark.
and we are your hosts each and every Tuesday as we take you through the movies that you have chosen for us to review on our Instagram page. We are an interactive show that allows you to get involved in, well, interactive features like 3-word review. You can call and live us. You can live us. Live her alone. Leave her alone. You can call and leave us voicemails. You could literally get involved in so many ways. It's a great, wonderful show. It's the best show. It's the best horror movie review show around. The way it works is we give you a brief overview of the movie, followed by our review and a score. Then we dive into the things we liked, the things we didn't like, the things we hated, and the things we loved. We scatter facts throughout the episode, and then we dive into all the cool interactive stuff like 3-word review and interactive features. We normally have a game. However, that game this week has been scrapped because we were lucky enough to have the privilege to interview Pyramid Head himself, Robert Strange, which honestly, what a fucking guy. Like, that interview, you need to stick around for. Like, even if you skip through our review and just listen to the interview of Robert Strange, what a guy he is.
Cool, man. Cool. I wasn't in attendance for the interview, but I'm very much looking forward to hearing it. He seemed like an awesome dude from what I can gather from it.
He's a really, really nice guy, and he's got lots of insights to obviously this movie, but also the rest of his career, and also there's some really cool stuff coming for that guy, and I'm really, really excited for him. I'm sure you've guessed because you've read the title before you clicked on the episode. We're reviewing Return to Silent Hill. This one's been really divisive. It's been annihilated by critics and fans alike. There are a pocket of people that really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I've seen it get a few like really high scores from a select group of people, which I know comes with most movies, but with this one, it's very, very split. Like, do you either hate it massively, which seems to be probably 80% of the community, but then there's that really strong vocal 20% who are really singing the praises of this film.
Yeah, and I think it's, I don't know, it's a really divisive one. And regardless of how you feel about the movie, I think this episode is going to give you good context for what it actually is. Like, you've got Mark, who's not a big gamer, you've got me, who is, and I think we're going to cover pretty much everything. There's something for everyone on this show. That's where I am with it. The film acts as a loose adaptation of Silent Hill 2, following James Sutherland as he navigates the town filled with monsters that represent his guilt, trauma, and desires to be punished. He's searching for his wife, Mary, who died 3 years earlier, but somehow sent him a letter to say, come see me in Silent Hill. And he went, okay, then. With the help / hindrance of Maria, Laura, Eddie, Angela, Red Pyramid Thing, a selection of strangely erotic nurses, James searches the town and tries to unravel the truth about himself and his deceased wife. For context, I'm a huge gamer. Like, this franchise is my franchise. And 2 days ago, I finished playing my first playthrough of the remastered Silent Hill 2. I got the water ending for anyone who's interested. Do not judge me. I know it's a bad ending, but that's what I got because that's the kind of guy I am.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
There's multiple, we'll talk about it in the episode, but there's multiple endings, and the water ending is basically you kind of didn't really learn anything on your journey through your life, did you? And I'm like, no, I'm still the same asshole that I was when I walked into Silent Hill. That's how I depart Silent Hill.
Isn't that what happens in this movie?
It is. They use the water ending in this movie.
Right. Okay. Okay. Right. Yeah.
There is another ending that I'm going to play through again to get, which is the dog ending, which we'll talk about later, which is fucking phenomenal. That's amazing.
Right. Okay.
The film is not an adaptation of the game. What it feels like to me, it feels like someone sat down with Christopher Gans and they explained Silent Hill to him once and then told him he had to make a movie based on what they told him with absolutely zero notes. Like,
you say that, but apparently he's a very avid gamer and is a very big fan of the Silent Hill games.
He's a fan of Silent Hill, but he's never played the game. He's watched the playthroughs, but he's never played it.
Okay, right. That's weird.
Yeah, the character portrayals and motivations feel off for me. The plot is fucking all over the place. There is more flashbacks in this than there is in the entirety of the series of Lost. Some of the CGIs is worse than the graphics in the remastered game. That being said, some of the monster designs and the portrayals across the live actors, the nurses, Pyramid Head thing, the lion figures, like they're all on point for me, as is the set design. Like some of these sets are 100% game accurate. I could fucking overlay the game over the set and it's spot on. I didn't hate it for a couple of reasons. One, it is following some of the story of the first two movies, including the cult, which isn't part of the game. And I kind of understand the lore in this is wrong because the lore in the first two movies was wrong. I do understand why a lot of fans and critics have absolutely bodied it as well. Like there's points when I watch this, I'm like, oh, what are you doing? I think it had huge potential. I think Christophe Gans, he failed with the little things, the little details that ultimately fucked up the things he'd done really well, like fell apart because of the shit he didn't do well. We'll get into everything we liked and didn't like, but I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5.
Right. Okay. Solid. So for a bit of context, obviously you said I'm not a gamer. That's not necessarily true. I am a gamer. I'm just probably 2000s gaming. I played a lot of retro consoles, which Silent Hill was a part of, especially the first 3 games anyway. But for those of you like me who grew up in the 90s, times were hard, man. You know what I mean? There was battles of brands, you know, and you had to pick your battles.
You were Resident Evil.
You were as a PlayStation fan or you was a Nintendo 64 guy. And once you picked it, you had to stick with your choice because you couldn't afford to then go back on it and pick the next console. And that was a thing growing up all the way through. And it was always conversations in school as well. What did you get for Christmas? And then you knew which friends you had to align with because you couldn't go out and buy a game every week. You had to trade off with your friends and circulate games. Same can be said for game franchises. You was either buying Silent Hill or you was buying Resident Evil. You had a path to choose when you were growing up. And for me, I picked Resident Evil. And it's a franchise that I've stayed faithful to throughout the entirety of my life, be that video games, movies, books, animes. I've always enjoyed watching content from within that franchise. And I think I probably would have done the same had I chosen Silent Hill.
Oh, yeah.
And spent most of my youth playing those games. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I picked Resident Evil. That was a path I went down. So my context of the games is very limited. Now, I would have probably rectified that within the last sort of 5 to 10 years since I've been collecting retro video games and things like that. However, Silent Hill games, which is something I think we mentioned on last week's episodes, are extremely expensive for some reason. You can't pick up a decent copy of Silent Hill without paying in excess of a couple of £100 for the original copy. You can emulate it, but it's not the same. For those of you who know, you know. So I've never really dived into the Silent Hill games. I'm very much aware of them, but my whole context of this world and this lore comes from Christophe Gans' original Silent Hill movie. Big fan of that movie. I still am a big fan of that movie. I think it's really, really well done. Didn't like the follow-up, but that wasn't Christophe Gans who directed that, but that sequel was shocking.
Yeah.
This movie was announced as a return to form. He was coming back. He was picking up the story of that film. And he doesn't, in my opinion. This is just a complete fever dream that I have no idea what is going on, who is who, where is where. The movie doesn't provide enough exposition in order to help audiences who have never played the game understand what's going on. And the fact that people are saying this isn't anything like the game just makes it even more wild to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't know these characters, and not a single bit of this movie explained to me anything that made sense. It doesn't tie in at all to the first movie.
No.
It completely abolishes the law which is established in the movie that he originally did. And it just feels like James's fever dream trapped within the base ground of Silent Hill, which by all accounts, by the time I got to this movie, isn't even a real place. So for me, regardless of all of that, the acting is average. I will say that. I'm not going to shit on the acting because I do think there is moments where quite a lot of the cast members in this have their moment to shine, and more often than not, they tend to do so. James, I don't know the actor's name, but his voiceover work is diabolical. It's almost like original Resident Evil 1 dialogue level stuff.
It's like this. And then I went to the diner.
It is piss poor, man. It is piss poor. The green screen work in this movie is completely shocking. There's one thing to make a movie about a video game. It's another thing to make a movie about a video game where the video game looks better than the movie itself. Yeah. And that's one thing that I really, really struggled with throughout this is I couldn't immerse myself in this world, not only because I didn't understand it, because it wasn't explained very well, but the visual side of things looks so unnatural. And I get it's a Silent Hill movie, but we've already seen it done probably 10 years ago by the same director and done 10 times better.
20 years ago.
20 years ago. That's even more shocking to me. This is just piss poor. I don't know what his budget was, but he didn't do a very good job. And the hype surrounding it, I knew I should have been anxious about this when it got a January release date. All the dumping ground of shit movies go to January, and Return to Silent Hill was one of them. This is a 1 out of 5. I think it's an abomination, and I think it's a franchise killer. Don't hold your hopes for anything else to come from Silent Hill within the next 10, 15 years at least. And even then, worst case scenario, we're going to get a TV series. And in all honesty, based on what I saw in this movie, a TV series would probably lend itself better to this lore.
I had this conversation with someone yesterday. I think a TV series is, for Silent Hill, is very good. Silent Hill has a very complicated, very sprawling lore that has a lot of intricate characters that have a lot of things that they do and things that they mean. That when you're condensing, so for example, the original game, Silent Hill 2, playthrough on that's about 10 hours. To condense that down into a 2-hour movie is a stretch. The remastered game, which has all the additional story and lore and everything else, is, I don't know, on an average playthrough, you're looking 20 hours. To condense that down into 2 hours is even fucking harder. And to try and do that while trying to tie in themes and shit that you've already fucked up from the first two movies into that and contain it all in such a short runtime, Christophe Gans didn't stand a fucking chance.
No, and the thing is, like you say, he should have just done what he did with the first movie, which was instead of trying to adapt Silent Hill 2, he should have just done his own thing, because he clearly knows how to take this world and make it into something visually striking, even though the computer generated side of this movie was shite. He visually knows the vision of what this thing should be. But this point, I felt like the reputation and the build-up of his return, he's like, I'm going to do a faithful adaptation of Silent Hill 2, was just a bold bollocks claim that he should never have made in the first place.
No, because this is... I don't care what anyone says, and I've seen people say that it is a faithful adaptation. I have literally just finished the game. This is not faithful in anything more than some of the characters exist, some of the locations exist, and the basic narrative of he's trying to find his wife exists. Everything else and all of the nuances and differences with characters and what everything else is completely lost.
And that's it. And I've seen people share reels and stuff. He's like, oh yeah, this scene here in particular is like straight out of the game. And the one that they were referring to is when he's in like apartment building and he's a fat guy, and then all of a sudden he turns on him and starts smacking him and stuff.
Yeah.
That segment is very much out of the game. But that's a 20-second segment out of an entire nearly 2-hour runtime movie. You can't tell me it's a faithful adaptation because they throw in simple nostalgic scenes like that people are like, oh, that's straight out of the game. Oh, that's straight out of the game. You know, if the contingency throughout is not the same, it's not the same, you know?
No, exactly that. Let's take a quick break and then we will dive into our full review of this, which isn't going to be completely scathing all the way through. I do have some positives.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, for the most part, I think we're gonna bash Gans. That's the episode. Bash Gans.
It's the day we pod monster, yeah, we're coming for you. With John and with Sean in the cold can brew. From the VHS gems to the spirits they drain. They're consuming the culture and numbing the brain. If it's weird, if it's wild, if it's trapped out soul. The pod monster's hungry and he's losing control. It's movies 4 days where the film rap reigns. With Newman on the mic breaking down the frames. From the sci-fi thrills to the horror and the noir. He's taking every genre and he's raising up the bar. It's a deep dive journey through the silver screen haze. Yeah, we're lost in the magic of movies 4 days. Word. Movies 4 days. Word.
So go to yourunpodcast.com. I've made it really easy for you. If you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on Spotify, there is a QR code on your screen right now, top right-hand corner of the screen. Scan that, it'll take you straight to the website. On the website, you'll find all of the members of the You Run Podcast Network. You'll find links to all of our shows, links to all of their shows, links to all of our socials. We are at You Run Podcast everywhere. If you want to get involved in the show and actually pick the movies we review, go to Instagram, and once a week there will be an Instagram selection of polls where you get to narrow down 8 movies to 1, and that's how we end up here. If you want to vote on newer releases like Return to Silent Hill, you need to go and subscribe to Patreon. On Patreon, you get everything, like literally everything. And like, if you're not subscribing to Patreon, like, it's less than a cup of coffee. And I want to know, do you feel
dirty? Do you feel cheap?
Because you are dirty and you are cheap if you're not subscribing to Patreon.
I do not condone this message.
You don't need to. On Patreon, you get early release of this show, like almost a week early. You get early release of True Crime a month early. You get early release of Voices with the You Run podcast. You get that 3 weeks early. You get early release YouTube episodes 2 a week. You get those a month early. Plus you get 3 exclusive episodes that are for Patreon only. And on top of that, you get You Run Extra, which is me and Mark talking shit about all sorts of kind of other movies. And you know, when I rein Mark in on a tangent, like on that show, I just let him go.
Yeah. It's fun. I love recording that show. It's great.
Yeah. And then we also do exactly the same with True Crime Extra, where I normally rein Heather in, I just let Heather go. So it's definitely worth doing, and it really helps us out. It helps us put more into the show, helps us do appearances, helps us do loads. So please go and do that. Also check out all of the members of the You Run Podcast Network, because every single one of them's awesome, and they've all got different things to offer you. There's everything from true crime to paranormal to like TV series, film, like you name it, it's there. Go and check it out. You really need to. Go and support us, support the You Run Podcast Network. And that is my sales pitch for the day. I want to start with the bare basic of this, the casting of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like the guy who plays James Sutherland. I think he's actually a very good actor. I don't think he was given enough to work with in this movie.
What's most wild about his casting is he probably looks more like James when he's not dressed up by Christopher Gans than he does
Yeah.
when he's dressed up by Christopher Gans. They put him in a dark wig and a stubble, yet his natural is a clean-shaven, long blonde hair guy. I saw an interview with him today, and I'm like, "What the fuck have you done?"
Some of the choices he made, especially with the characters, I'm like, what? Why did you do that? Like making his wife and so you've got his wife is Mary and it's what's her fucking name? The other woman who helps him, making them the same.
Angelique, is it? Is that the middle name? I can't remember. Is
Yeah,
Angelique the bossy one? Mary?
Yeah, no, you got Mary
Laura?
and Maria.
Maria.
Yeah,
Laura's a little girl, that's right.
Yeah, so making Mary and Maria the same actress, fully get it. I understand because Maria is effectively a manifestation of Mary.
And
But
the other one as well.
Yeah, but to not explain that in the movie at any point that is what she is.
No, they do. I will defend it from that point. They do, because I understood it from that point, because I spent the entire movie thinking, well, that's the same actress. That's the same actress. Why is that the same actress? But it is a blink and you miss it, where he goes to her gravestone and the middle names of the main character, I think she's called Laura Crane in this, even though she's Laura Shepherd in the game. You can tell I've had to go and do my research to understand what the fuck this movie was talking about. However, they do go to the gravestone. I think it's later on in the movie, in like the back half, where he finally realizes who they all are. And the gravestone has her middle names. I think it might even be Laura who tells him this in the hallway. And then you get the flashback scenes and he goes to the grave and it's the middle names are the names of the other characters, which then made sense to me why they were all played by the same actress, because in essence, they're all fragments of the same person.
Yeah.
Emotions of the same person, if you will.
Yeah, I'm glad that came across to you. Like, I didn't get that.
It did. Yeah, I got it, and I've not played the game. Do you know what I mean? I had no idea that's what they were trying to do. I didn't understand it all the way through up until that moment. I'll be honest with you, the reveal didn't hit like it was intended to. I thought, well, that's fucking stupid. The fact that her middle names are fragmented off is ridiculous. But I'm sure it has more meaning and purpose in the game.
Yeah, it does in the game. It's a big plot point. I don't want to do too much of the game stuff. I'm going to refer to certain bits, but like this isn't.
No, please do, because I don't understand it. So I'm looking at all I'm seeking from this episode is justification for me to take my score from a 1 to something higher, and I'll be damned if I'm going to. But I feel like if anybody can convince me otherwise, it's going to be you and the information you provide tonight.
Well, okay, well, I'll help with game lore as we go through. One thing that is not going to help this score go up. Why the fuck did it, like all the creature designs I said earlier all look great. They're fucking on point. The practical effects work I really liked. Why did he go to Party City to get Maria's wig? That blonde wig.
Oh, that blonde wig. I didn't know what you meant for a second then. Yeah, it's very, very ridiculous. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. Again, I just assumed it was intentional because of her supposed to be a different version of herself. She's supposed to not look natural in these sort of things, but I don't know. Yeah, it was shit. It was shit. And you mentioned about the creature design being good and better. I think the ones that spit the ooze.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. They were actually pretty much on par with what he did in the first movie.
They were great. I liked them a lot.
Pyramid Head.
Different film. Very hellscaping.
Very, very different film. Pyramid Head, I don't think was as good as what he was in the first movie. I know he was done practically here. I know he was done practically in the first movie, but he had that stature and presence in that first movie that was fucking like to the point where he picked that woman up and just ripped her skin clean from her body. That scene will stay in my mind forever. Even though that movie's not scary, that is one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen. And the presence that the Pyramid Head has in that first movie is not even anywhere near matched. And this is not to take away from Robert Strange and his performance. He was fantastic in this. He does a really, really good job. And I like how well the actual bodysuit is on him. It reminded me a lot of the Hellraiser, Pinhead reference again, the Hellraiser remake and the aesthetic that they have and the look that they have. The design of him was very much on par with that, but just with the Pyramid Head helmet. The nurses is the next one that I really want to break down because they were just absolutely wasted. wasted beyond belief in this movie. They do nothing. They have no impact. It was so terrifying what they did in that first movie with those characters. And in here, it felt like an audition for the X Factor, and they were doing like a fucking choreographed performance. And then when he started attacking them, like in the first movie, they're bandaged first, and it looked fucking brilliant. This one, it's like a weird pottery thing, and he starts smashing them, and they all break. And I just thought, that's just shit, man. You've just really underutilized such an impactful sort of enemy within the world of this game, you know. I don't know if that's how they play out in Silent Hill 2, if that's how they're abolished in that sort of way, but for me in this movie it just looked dreadful.
No, so Pyramid Head is the most faithful adaptation look wise that we've had. Like, this is as close to Silent Hill 2 the game as you'll get. He looks on point. He's domineering and scary, but at no point has Pyramid Head been this muscle bound fucking brute. He's defined and he's big, and like when you come across him in the game, lots of times he doesn't do anything, which makes him worse. So like there's a point in the game where he's just
like Mr. T from the Resident Evil games.
Yeah. So in this one where he stood behind the grate and he reaches through to grab James.
Mm-hmm.
Like that in the game, when you first spot him, he stood behind that barred grate, but he doesn't do anything. And you have to walk down the corridor towards him. And in the game, it's the most fucking terrifying thing ever, because you're like, he's there, he's going to break that gate down, and you get to him. And as you get to him, he just sort of turns a bit and starts to walk away. And you're like, oh, phew, that's all right. And then you turn the corner and something else gets you. But like
it's that tension building, though, that is lacking massively within that scene. For me personally, he's a very underutilized character. Other than bending over the spider lady over that table, I don't really know what he does here.
And him and the spider lady was awesome. Like when the spider lady attacked him, I'm like, oh, you're fucked. What did you do that for?
He just bent her over a table like he was about to insert himself. I was like, this is taking a weird turn. I've seen movies like this before on the internet.
The thing is, like, there's a big portion of this fandom that wanted that purely for the fact that
turns me on so much.
There is a big portion. Like, there are characters in this that you should not be sexually attracted or aroused by. Pyramid Head, or a big portion of this fandom, is like, he's the fucking man. And the nurses are sexy as fuck.
But again, they don't look as good as what they did in the first. And I think that's one thing that I really struggled to adjust to with this movie. Like you mentioned, this is 20 years later. I expected better. And the whole time I was watching it, I was like, I've seen this done better already by the same guy. You know, he wasn't up in his game, in my opinion. If anything, he was undermining everything that he'd done before.
Yeah, I'm going to defend him a little bit. So when he made Silent Hill, the first one, 2006, he had a $40 million budget. 20 years later, he was given a $40 million budget, and Konami took 20 million away. So he made this for $20 million in today's.
But I think that shows. I think that massively shows. It looks like a fan-made movie in many, many aspects. And I think the thing that I took biggest issue with that, a lot of people would be like, right, well, yeah, I mean, his budget was slashed, you know, which I get if you're making a Marvel movie or you're making some sort of big grandeur movie. Silent Hill doesn't necessarily lend itself to needing that. This could have been so easily flattened out and condensed and just focused more on the eerie and scare factor element of it.
Yeah.
It didn't need the glossiness. It didn't need the grandeur. You know what I mean? This world is terrifying in its own right without having to implement so much CGI and so much action segments. You know what I mean? And that's all it felt like it was doing. It just felt like it was running from fight scene to fight scene to fight scene, but all of them were very subpar in terms of the quality. They were over very quickly, and none of them actually led to any sort of plot progression. It was more just a case of side mission, side mission, side mission. Oh, let's go find Mary. Oh, hold on, we've got another side mission to do. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, the problem is the game, for the 90% of the play in the game, it is that uncomfortable feeling. It's you're walking around somewhere that's creepy. You know you're going to see something that's going to scare you. And like the armless creatures, like those,
they look great.
they look great, but like the way he could have utilized it, if he utilized those how they utilized in the game, so you'll be walking through a room and you're like shine your torch around the room, it's dark, and you'll see what looks like a little table in the corner, but it's not. It's one of those fucking things like curled up in a ball, and when you shine your light on it, it fucking springs to its feet and runs towards you. That shit is in the game is terrifying. The amount of times I dropped the controller because of that, and then you kill it and it's over quickly, and then it goes back to the fuck, my nerves are up now, I'm really tense and I need to go through that door into that other dark room, and I don't want to do it, and that's what's missing here.
But that's the same thing that can be said about the nurses, though. The reason that they were so scary in that first game is it's like that walking through lasers thing, you know, the slightest noise or movement sets them off, you know. But in here, that doesn't matter. That doesn't apply. They're just free reign, you know, like the first movie, when they had to like creep past them carefully, and the slightest little knock or drop would have like sort of sent them off a little bit. And then in here, it's not. It's just that doesn't matter now. They're just active beings that can see and can just figure out that you've walked into a room.
Yeah, the thing is, like, there's so many locations within the game. Like when you first start, you do the apartments, you do a little coffee shop as well, but you go coffee shop, then up into the apartments. Apartments are terrifying, but the bit they really fucked up in this for me is the hospital. In the game, the hospital is the most terrifying thing from start to finish. And it's arguably got like the fewest amount of baddies. It's just that the tension and the building, and like there's a lot of puzzle solving in Silent Hill. And in the first movie, there's an element of that. And in this, like, that's abandoned.
Yeah.
What it feels like every time he got to a point where he needed to either do a puzzle or just do a bit of like walking around, because that happens a lot in the game, a little bit of exploring. Yeah, a little bit of that. Every time he got to that point, he's like, oh, we need to do that now. No, I tell you what I'll do.
Flashback.
Like,
yeah, but yeah, you see, the thing is, he throws elements in there that make fan service available, such as the walkie-talkie that sets off the sirens when there's an entity. I'm like, that's obviously an element of the game. So whenever something's near, the walkie-talkie makes a crackling thing. Really cool. But it doesn't come into play again after that. No. Same with the flashlight clipped onto his belt. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a game reference, and you're going to have to go through certain corridors where you can see fuck all, barring the little bit of torch you've got. Other than him clipping it onto his jacket to say, hey, guys, it doesn't bear any reference to the movie itself. It comes into play none. You know, and that's one of the things that I was saying about stripping it back and utilizing that budget correctly. You could have very much had a movie condensed completely in fog, and him having this walkie-talkie, this simple flashlight, almost in a found footage style element set in Silent Hill with minimal budget, and the tension would have been unbearable.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the problem is everything in this is wrong to the law. And the flashbacks is where it loses it for me, because every time it gets to a point where it's going to build some tension, it goes flashback. And we get a story of him and Mary when they went to the shop, and him and Mary when they laid at the park, and then him and Mary when they met her weird culty friends who have nothing to do with the game. They're just stolen from the cult element of the first movie, which again, like,
that blows my mind to me, because how do you incorporate the cult element? Because for me, that was the whole binding of these characters and how she became what she became. If they're not even part of the game, how the fucking hell did James and Mary even end up in this situation?
So in the game, it's a lot deeper. It's a lot about sort of the darkness being released into the world through things that have happened in Silent Hill. And in the movie, to try and like, there's a lot of, it's a very convoluted and difficult story to explain in a 2-hour movie, which I think is when he done Silent Hill 1 and he adapted that, he needed a way to explain that darkness and that terror and why it came across. And the easiest way to do that was to go, let's have a cult, because a cult done something, and that's what's gone wrong, and that's why.
Yeah, and it was Alexa's mind that completely turned, which was basically created Silent Hill and trapped all these, you know what I mean? And I got that, I got that sort of manifestation of what that was supposed to be within You know, and you had the whole subplot of the big mining accident and stuff in the first
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it all made logical sense. So diving into this movie, I'm like, so is this the same place? Is this Silent Hill still the same place? Is it the same place as the first movie? Is she going to reappear, the character from the, you know, because even in the second movie, which I know he didn't direct and had nothing to do with, it still continued that first story from the first movie, you know, and here again, Return to Silent Hill, him coming back, was established as excluding the second movie still, but including the first, retconning the story.
This is what his problem is. He's come back and he's gone, right, I'm going to adapt this game, but tell it in my own way. I'm going to make the assumption that people have already seen the first two movies so they can steal information from there they need to fill holes. They can steal information they need from the games to fill the other holes. And then what I give them will tie everything together and they'll understand it. If you've never played a game and never seen either of the other two movies, this movie's fucking nonsense.
Excluding playing the games, even if you've seen the first and second movie and expecting to go into this as a third movie, it's still complete utter fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, you've pigeonholed your fan base so much by expecting them to digest every single little bit of Silent Hill lore in order to understand the movie you're trying to make. 3 movies into a franchise.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. It's a completely missed mark, in my opinion. He has not had the slightest sense of who he's making this movie for. Because in my opinion, he's not made it for the fans of the game because they're utterly pissed off with it. He's not made it for the fans of the movie because they don't have a fucking clue what's going on either. And he's certainly not made it for new audiences because when I walked into this, I didn't understand a single thing that was going on.
No, I don't understand how he missed the mark so much either. It does frustrate me. And another thing that frustrates me is not once in this entire movie did Maria make this noise. Which she makes in the game numerous times, and it makes me fucking laugh every time she does it.
Is Maria the blonde one? The blonde version of Mary?
Yeah, blonde version of Mary. And in the game, she's actually very helpful. So she kind of plays a character she helps you from location to location early on in the game. Then she becomes a fucking nuisance. Then she tries to convince you to stay in Silent Hill and live a life with her and forget about Mary. She's like,
I got that from this movie. They tried to do that a little bit.
Yeah, they tried to do it a little bit, but in the game, it's a big thing. And like, depending on your decisions, one of the endings you get is you do stay in the town with Maria.
Right.
Like, one of the other endings is you kind of atone for all your sins, you understand the things you've done wrong, and you leave Silent Hill. The one
at that point, that was the most invested I was in this movie because I was like, dude, like I know she looks the same and she's actually a lot hotter than the original version you had.
Yeah.
But you can't trade your wife in. I was like, don't do it, dude. Like I was genuinely invested by this moment. I was like, no, man, don't do this. And thankfully enough, he didn't. But yeah, so that's an actual option. You could upgrade your wife in the game.
Yeah, the thing is with Silent Hill, it's not a case of you get options and you make decisions. It's based on the way you play. So the way you play and the things you find, and then the way you follow instructions as to which ways you go, that will alter your outcome at the end of the game.
So it's Resident Evil 3 is what you're telling me.
Pretty much.
Right,
so
okay.
I got the water ending. So the water ending is basically he drives himself. It's the same ending as this movie.
It's the same end of the movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He drowned.
Yeah. And basically what that is you've gone through this traumatic, horrible situation in the town, and you're still the prick you were when you walked in. You've learnt nothing. You still don't listen. You still do your own thing. And that's the ending I got. But there's a couple of silly endings as well. So there's a UFO ending where at the end he just gets abducted by aliens, which is fucking hilarious. My favorite, which I'm going to play through again to get because I love it, is the dog ending. So the dog ending. Have you seen the Simpsons episode where they're like, the dog did it? Like, how do you know? Because he's got shifty eyes.
No.
But it's that. So basically at the end, it's like the dog, there's this dog that you find and the dog caused everything. The dog is the reason for the monsters. The dog is the reason your wife died. The dog is the reason you got called back to the town. And it's just fucking beautiful. It's stupid, but you're like the first time I got that end, I was like, what? The dog. Why did the dog do it? It's so good.
So really, what you're trying to tell me is the water ending is the official canon ending, and then the Easter egg endings are just there depending on the path you take.
Yeah, you've got 3 canon endings. Canon ending 1 is he learnt all his lessons, he leaves Silent Hill. Canon ending 2 is he learnt nothing, he dies. Canon ending 3 is he decided that he made the wrong choice being with Mary in the first place and goes with Maria and stays in the town with Maria.
Which is just an upgraded version of Mary, which makes no logical sense anyway.
Yeah,
I'm sure it does in the game, but here, if he made that decision, that would be wild.
It's just Mary in sluttier clothes.
Right. So before we do get to the ending of this movie, where do you want to go with what happens between sort of where we are now and where the ending is? Because for me, this is all just filler.
It is. It's all filler. This whole subplot with the cult and how they're making her sick and like they've done horrible things to her. At one point, did they rape her at one point? Because I couldn't work out.
No, I think it was like they give her that drug and then she just bled profusely from like her nose and other bits, and they just rubbed them on themselves. Which she walked into the room after this because he was at the cage door screaming, "Mary, no, Mary! Oh my God!" And then he goes back, and then that's when he's packed his suitcase and gives her the ultimatum: you either leave with me now or not. And she decides not to, and he leaves. That was quite a creepy visual, actually, where as he does leave and gets into the car, he looks up at the room and they're all stood staring at the windows. I was like, oh, fucking hell, man, that's weird. And again, that's one thing I do want to say about Christopher Gans. I know we've bashed on him heavily on this episode, but he is clearly a very talented director. He does a lot of things here that visually do look impressive. Some of the camera angles that he chooses to take are fantastic. Some of the overhead shots as he's following James down the streets of Silent Hill look fucking brilliant, where he's utilizing actual physical sets are fantastic. It's just that really awkward CGI stuff. And one of the prime examples of it is that fucking weird cockroach scene.
So the cockroach
is dreadful, man.
Those
is awful.
They appear in the game, but they appear sporadically. So when they appear a lot in the apartments. When you go through the apartments, you'll get.
They're in the first game as well, because I have played the first game. I do remember them from that.
Yeah, but you'll get like 1, maybe 2. If you're in a really bad room, you might get 4. At no point did they ever swarm like scarabs from the Mummy. Like,
it was weird, man, and they looked dreadful as well. And like the whole thing was filmed like it was a scene from Sin City.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the weirdest things about this movie for me was the viewing experience of it. Do you remember when you was a kid, right? And you'd go around to a friend's house and you'd play a game, but it was their console and it was their game. So you would always be second player, not even necessarily second player, because people couldn't afford 2 controllers back in the day. You was a viewer. Yeah. So you was watching somebody else play the game, waiting for your turn.
Yeah.
And that is the only way I can summarize my experience of this movie. The way I watched this movie was like I was a person waiting for my turn. You know, it didn't feel like a movie experience for me. It felt like an impatient moment of me waiting for me to get to the point where I just wanted to take over. And it feels more like a video game than it does a movie. It feels like a segment of cutscenes after cutscenes after cutscenes. And in all honesty, I've seen video games that look better in cutscenes than this movie does.
The stupid thing is, if he'd just taken the cutscenes of the game and tied them together with, I don't know, 2 minutes of corridor walking, like every single Silent Hill fan would have gone, perfect, great, happy with that. Like if he'd have literally just replicated scene for scene the cutscenes and stuck in a couple of moments. Like there's a moment in the game which doesn't happen in this, which honestly it was something I was really looking forward to. There's a point where you get locked in a room with Pyramid Head and he's trying to kill you, and you empty, I don't know, fucking 60 clips of bullets at this fucker while you're trying to run away. And like you run out of bullets and then you're just running around this room going, how the fuck do I kill him? How the fuck do I kill him? And while you're running around, he's like chasing you and smashing boxes. All of a sudden you get this. And it ends. And he just stops and just fucks off and breaks open.
A bit like what he does in that scene in the corridor here, then, really.
Yeah, but there's a scene where it's just you and him, and it's a proper fight scene, and it's one of the best moments in the game. And how they excluded that, like when you talk to people who played the game, that is a moment where you're like, "Oh fuck, it's me and him and my handgun. I'm in so much trouble."
No, they do it briefly here, not probably to the anywhere near the level of what it is in the game, but there is a moment where you're like, yeah, you're fucked now. And then the siren goes off. But again, even the fucking siren felt limp in this movie. You know, it didn't have the impact. I don't know, man. I'm just basing it on movie per movie basis. And I just don't think it's even a scratch on what he did first time around, in my opinion.
No, and the thing is, I still don't hate it. Like, I don't look at this guy, oh, it's fucking dreadful. Like, I would probably watch
think
this
I'm
again.
leaning more to it. No, I don't think I ever would. I think I'm leaning more to the fact that this is just utter dog shit. I'll be honest with you. So have you got anything else you want to say before we get to the end? Because there is a lot regarding the end that I want to dive into.
I do want to talk about.
Who got a beard?
I want to talk about the prosthetic beard.
Yes. Right. Right. Why?
I don't know what to say about this.
This is almost on the same level as Tobin Bell wearing a snapback to make him look younger, but just in reverse order.
Do you know when you could buy like a hat with a balaclava and that it's got like a knitted beard that you pull? It honestly looked like that.
You can see the tops of it where they've glued it to his face.
You can see the seam. I looked at it like the first moment it come on screen, is like, oh, he's got a beard. And then when they zoom in like really close to his face for like a monologue, I'm like, I find myself, I'm like twisting my head going, what? At no point did someone go, we just need to sort that. It literally, like, even if you made that your first shot of the movie and said to the actor like 2 months before, look, the end of this movie, you're going to have a beard. Can you have a beard for when we start shooting? We'll shoot that first, then you can shave that shit off and we'll do the rest of the movie.
Not just come back and do it 2 months after the end of the movie. You know, for what the scene was where he had the beard, you could have filmed that in a day, 2 months after principal photography.
Yeah, it just blew my mind. Like, that was the point where I went, how the fuck can you make a practical pyramid head and make him look the bollocks, and then you make practical nurses that before they shatter to glass look great? You do that awesome fucking monster and you can't get a fucking beard right. How could you have those?
I will say the nurses, when they did shatter, I know if you're referring to my point of slagging them off, they did actually look cool when they shattered. It was just not what I wanted them. It was just that they did, you know what I mean? The faces didn't look great because that again was like Play-Doh. It should have been bandaged like the first film. But yeah, the actual shattering effect of itself was all right. It was, in terms of pulling apart the visual effects, the beard is criminal. The cockroaches are an abomination. The spider monkey is honestly god awful. What else was really, really bad that stood out to me that was like, why have you done this?
His wife at the end where she turned into a giant moth with the bed sheets.
Yeah, I was saving that because I wanted to. And to be fair, actually, that looked quite good. That did actually look quite good when the sheets turned into the wings and things. That didn't look as bad as I was expecting it to be when it started doing the transformation thing. I was like, oh god, here we go, another note to write down, and I didn't actually have to for that scene. But I was saving that anyway because I want to dedicate a full segment to what the fuck is going on at the end of this movie.
Well, I think we're there.
I think we are there. Let's do it, right? Because for me, I don't know what has happened in this movie, right? So let's just break down. I'm just going to spitball a few things that I have questions about that I'm really lost on. And then you can either try and fill in the blanks or just tell me that I'm right and this movie's absolute dog shit. So the first one is, was he ever in Silent Hill? My reasons for asking this question are the weird Wesker version doctor thing that keeps popping up and telling him to come home throughout the movie. One moment he's in Silent Hill, something really bad's about to go down. He holds his head because it's hurting because the siren's going off. And then he wakes up in the hospital. Real world, real doctors, actual medical people. And then we get this whole backstory thing of how since his wife's died, he's just lost himself in the moment. Rah, rah, rah. and then all of a sudden a moth flies up to the window, and then he's back in Silent Hill. So it's like,
Yeah.
is Silent Hill in his brain? That is number one. I'm going to just spitball them,
Okay.
and then you can fill me in. Number two, what the fuck was the moth bed thing? What reasoning was the moth bed thing? As visually cool as it looked, why? Number three, why did he drive into the water and kill himself with the body of Mary? Number four, and this is like the really, really fucking balls to the walls one. After he drowned, why did he wake up as Bill Murray and it was a Groundhog Day thing?
Right. Okay. Let's start with number 4. We'll work our way backwards. Number 4, there is a theory. It's never been confirmed in the games within the Silent Hill fandom that Silent Hill acts as a loop. So when you enter Silent Hill, you go through whatever you need to, and then when you've completed, you loop back round and you do it again. It's a little bit like purgatory, that you don't ever truly leave until you've learned every single thing you need to. But that's a fan theory, and Gans included that with this time loop thing he done at the end. Number
But
3,
he doesn't give justification for it.
no, he doesn't. That is
Because they
pure-
make the opposite choice. So he's obviously learned from his lessons, and he chooses to, instead of driving back into Silent Hill like he did with the first iteration, they choose to leave and go to the city.
Yeah.
But like, how?
No idea. Ask Christopher
Right.
Gans. I don't know why he done that.
Right. Okay.
The moths. So the moths appear multiple times during the game. I think the first time is in, I want to say, the Woodside Apartments. There's a puzzle that involves moths where you've got loads of moths in the room and you need to count the spots on the, like, you got moths on the wall pictures and you need to count the spots on the moths to undo a puzzle, and then they appear later in the game as well. They're not an integral point, but they're an integral puzzle, if that makes sense.
Right.
And he's then taken that image and that iconography of those characters and gone, let's make that this.
And literally implemented it into characters of Mary, making her a visual representation of the moth. Again, your justification makes no sense, but I understand the connection that he's tried to make. It makes no sense to me that she's dead on a trestle and then all of a sudden turns, like, she's a full demon as well at this point. Like, she's an actual demon with demon claws and teeth and eyes.
A hand in the mouth, like right down his throat, which
She's
made
got
no sense
4
at all.
arms, and she fully fucking fists his face. And then in fact, I can't even remember how he gets from fist in the face to driving into the water, I'll be honest with you.
No, I can't.
No,
I've only
never
seen
mind.
this film once.
Same,
what-
but it's not relevant. Carry on.
I can't, what were your other two? One was, is he really in Silent Hill?
Yes.
In the game, yes, 100% he's in Silent Hill. And a lot of the characters that in this are shown as manifestations of fragmented pieces of mind are actually characters. So in the game, Eddie's a real person. The girl he meets in the cemetery is a real person. And there's a couple of other characters he meets that are real. And it's Maria that's sort of a vision, and Laura
Along with
that's,
Pyramid Head as well.
yeah. So Pyramid Head represents his desire to be punished.
Yeah.
The weird things with no arms, they represent his struggle with grief and feeling trapped. So all of the characters actually in the game represent something about James. In this movie, that's not put across at all.
And I think you only get the one brief viewing that James is Pyramid Head.
You do, which in the game you never get. The problem is with the game, you've got a lot of time to flesh shit like that out and make people come to that conclusion on their own. In the movie, it's been criticized for like showing inside the helmet.
Yeah.
And I understand why people are complaining, but I don't understand how you convey that without doing that. And I don't think
I
they've done
don't
a good
either.
job.
I don't either. And it was only when I saw that I made that connection.
Yeah.
So from a movie making standpoint, he gets a pass from me for doing so, because that was what really made me be like, oh, so it is his visual representation of his, like I thought it was more a case of his grief for eventually what we find out to be him murdering his wife. He killed her and him dealing with that. So the entirety of the story was, in my perception, was him fabricating this reality. They're very insistent on him being an artist in this movie. They must say it a million times. He's an artist. He's an artist. So I'm like, oh, well, he visually created this in his mind. And this is his way of dealing with his guilt and his trauma of murdering his wife. Although, in fairness, probably okay. I don't know if I would deal with the guilt of doing so, because she's at the point where she's really dying. She's really struggling. And clearly there's no return for her. He's just ending her suffering. Why he would go to such exponential levels of dealing with the trauma in such a way didn't make a lot of sense to me. But at the same time, why has Christopher Gans chose to be the focal point when that's not necessarily the case in the game?
No, see, I think what he's done, like the whole point of the game, it's all about struggling with grief and trauma, and like Pyramid Head's helmet represents the weight of grief, and like the sword is like it's heavy and it's cumbersome, which is like represents the grief that he feels, and he's got the desire to be punished. Like there's so much in the game, but in this movie, Gans tries to take it in a maybe he's not really there, maybe it's all in his head, and
I think that's what the curveball is, and I don't think he should have done that.
I think he could have done it had he delivered it better. I don't think it was delivered very well. It didn't land for me.
But doing that is it, isn't it, in his head, compromises his previous work, in my opinion, because that is not a is it, isn't it? You know what I mean? That is not the case, you know? And I think the entire problem of this movie is the fact that it's trying to be chronological with the things that have come before it. Although it's not vocally said this is the third movie, it was very much advertised in it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, like, it should have just been its own entity. It should have been advertised as this is a fresh take.
Yeah.
I still don't think it would have gone anywhere, even if it had that logic and backing behind it. I don't think there was enough meat on the bone here to be able to establish a new fan base that would be like, that was really, really cool what he did there. I get what he was trying to achieve, but he didn't execute it very well at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. What was I can't remember what your second question was. I think I've answered all of them bar one.
I think so. I think you answered 3, but I think you answered 2 at the same time. I can't remember what the questions were now.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, I've answered them all. I'm going to say something now that people either agree with or they don't. I have a theory that Silent Hill films are deliberately made bad by Konami.
Konami were heavily involved in this movie as well.
And they were heavily involved in the first two. And hear me out. So every Silent Hill film that's ever been made has been either just before or during the launch of a game. So in 2006, 6 months later, we got the release of Origins. 2012 coincided with the release of the HD collection. And this one coincides with the upcoming Silent Hill Townfall. Now, every single time a movie is bad, it causes this huge influx of discussion about Silent Hill. And what that discussion is how much better the games are than the movies. And every time that discussion happens, sales in the game spike because people didn't get what they wanted from the movie, so they go to play the game again. I genuinely think, because Konami financed all 3 of these, I genuinely think it is a really underhanded marketing tactic by Konami to sell games.
I mean, yeah, you know me, I love a conspiracy theory.
And I don't, but I think this one could have some fucking merit.
It certainly could have some legs. I just don't think that's the case at all. I just think that it's a case of Konami being the company that they are, putting faith in an American film company to produce something that they've just not executed very well. I just think they've made 3 movies. Twice they've put faith in Christopher Gans. No, so in order of Konami logic, Christopher Gans' first movie, very successful.
Destroyed by critics on release.
It was, but it's got a massive, massive fan base and got a great cult following by today's standards. The sequel, Christopher Gans went there, bombed heavily. Terrible,
behind me,
terrible
right
movie.
there.
Terrible movie. The idea with their logic was we'll bring Christopher Gans back, he'll do an excellent job, and we'll make him stay faithful to a game adaptation, and he'll knock it out of the park again. And it's just not worked. And I just don't think, as much as I love a theory and I love yours definitely has legs, I just think it's just bad luck and they've just put their eggs in the wrong basket this time around. And the most disappointing fact about it all is the fact that I genuinely think that this is a property that in the right hands would be amazing.
Yeah, you give this to someone who you give this to someone who's played the games repeatedly, someone who understands what it feels like to play the game, because that's what this misses. It misses that feeling of, like, if I play Silent Hill for a prolonged period of time, and I've done that recently, like if I sit there and play 4 hours of Silent Hill, I need an hour to fucking readjust myself to be part of the normal world again. It really, when you play Resident Evil games,
that much. Yeah.
When you play Resident Evil games, you get into the later levels when shit is going down and like everything's terrifying and like you can't open a door without something trying to fuck you up. And
I can't play that game in long successions.
No, and Silent Hill's the same. And after you finish playing, you need time to like decompress and become a normal human and take that edge away. And that's what this film misses. It doesn't have that, oh, fuck, this is awful. At no point did I go, oh, don't go in there. Don't go in there. Like all of that tension's lost. And it's all lost because every time it gets to that point, he's like, oh, by the way, 10 years ago, this happened.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I'm going to stick with my score. This is a 2 out of 5. Yeah, I think it's got some cool set pieces. I think the monsters are cool. Everything else that Gans done is fucking disastrous.
Yeah, I mean, you're more of a fanboy for Silent Hill than I am. For me, I'm actually going to drop my score down. I was hoping this conversation would have amplified things that I'd missed and things that I hadn't gotten. But in honesty, all it's done is made me realize that this movie completely misses the mark, and things that I thought required justification early on have just proven to me that they really don't. And he's fucked up entirely. I'm dropping this down to a 0.5 out of 5. I'll never watch this movie again. It's a tarnish on the first film he made, and it's a tarnish on the entire franchise. And disappointingly, I don't think we're going to see Silent Hill make appearance in live action for probably the next 2 decades, and that's a really, really, really big shame, because as I've mentioned numerous times throughout this episode, there is a lot here that would really translate well in the right hands. Gans has fucked it, and he's fucked it for a lot of fans and a lot of people. And I think the franchise is really going to take a long time to recover from this movie. So it's a 0.5 out of 5. If you're thinking about going to the cinema to watch this, don't. By the time this episode comes out, it's probably already been pulled. Even when it comes to streaming, there are 1,000,001 other things you can watch other than this. If your curiosity gets the better of you, don't say we didn't warn you. I know you have the Robert Strange episode interview coming up, and I just want to say, in case you are listening, Robert, this is by no means a reflection on you. You did a fantastic job to work with what you had to do, and you were fantastic in the role that you were given. You just weren't given the stuff that you should have been given. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. I think if you make Pyramid Head more of a focal point, this movie
he was underutilized massively, and considering how fantastic he looked and the performance that Robert brought to it, it just blows my mind that he wasn't given more to do within this movie.
I agree completely. And with that, now we've absolutely slammed it. I want you to really listen to Robert, because Robert's not only in Return to Silent Hill, he does so much cool stuff. Such a super guy. So I was privileged to get the interview with him, and here's my interview with Robert Strange. So Robert, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm going to kick things off going straight into the deep end. How was it to be cast as one of the most iconic horror video game characters in this latest movie?
I think you've kind of summarized it already. Really, it's I don't know how do you describe that feeling? There's not really a word for it, is there? It's you set out on this career. I've had the acting bug since I was tiny, and it's taken me on this path that I would never have predicted and never particularly planned. But I have got so much joy and so much richness and enjoyment and amusement out of. And then you think kind of, wow, okay, that's my pinnacle. That's my thing that I'll always cherish. And then something else comes along and I'm like, oh wow, that's just as cool, or it's a whole nother world, a whole nother like corner of the industry that I never would have thought of. But yeah, it's iconic is the word that you said. He's obviously kind of been on my radar and most people's radars, whether they play the games or not, in kind of that crossover of horror and video games. Pyramid Head is kind of represents it really well. So to get to play him on screen and inhabit the costume and the character and everything it represents was great fun. Yeah.
And how was it sort of working with Christophe Gans and sort of having that director who is synonymous with this franchise now, who command you? Because I've seen a lot of the set photographs. The sets were quite elaborate. It looks like quite a creepy place to work. Like I know the other side of the camera, it's not, but all of the sets that you're in, it's not the nicest environment to be wandering around in.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm a little bit like numb to that, I suppose, because almost everything I do is always within that project. It's always the creepiest corridors and the dirtiest places and the darkest, creepiest places. So yeah, maybe I'm just kind of used to that. It's quite rare that I get to turn up to work as the monster and be in the like lavish banquet hall or something. But hey, maybe one day. Yeah, the sets were beautiful. To kind of answer your first question, to link the two, Christophe is just so passionate about Silent Hill. It's just so clear from the way he talks about it. And telling, for him to do the first film so many years ago and come back and do this one now, you can see that it's still with him. It's just part of him. It's part of his kind of his kind of trail that he's leaving on this earth in terms of his art, his storytelling. So it was amazing. Again, to play Pyramid Head is one thing, and to do it with Christophe is another, because he's so, like I say, he's so passionate about the story and the character. He was open for every discussion and every idea. He had such a clear vision of what he wanted, but was also up for, new ideas and new approaches and new takes. And it's collaborative and making a movie with a million people. So he was really open to that, which was great.
That's amazing as well, because that's not something you always get with directors. Some directors are very much, this is what I want. No, I'm not interested in your suggestion. Just do what I'm telling you to do. So having someone who'll listen to you if you've got an idea of how the character should be portrayed or how you should push the character to another level is something that I think would be really rewarding.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's funny because people often talk about that kind of director in a hypothetical sense in a very negative way, and I do see why, but also it's just another challenge for an actor at the end of the day. Like, we're not, none of us are saving lives, so it's about making a film and telling a story. And if you're working with someone who wants to run that shit in that way, then the challenge you as an actor is to go, okay, how can I do that? How can I best fulfill their vision? But yeah, luckily, I mean, in a way, it wasn't like that at all with Christophe. He was, like I say, he had a very, very clear notion, but I did a lot of research of the video game and the art and the story and all sorts. So I had my own kind of approach, I suppose, and my own body, my own physicality to bring to it, that he was very open to hearing.
I was going to ask you, did you play any of the games and sort of get an understanding of who this character was before you went in? Or had you played the games before? Or did you just go, right, I can see the artwork, I know what this is going to be straight away? How did you approach this role?
I wish I had now. I didn't play them when I was younger. I was quite a big video gamer when I was younger, and still am now. But I was too scared to play horror games when I was younger, especially. Even now, I don't know. It's funny because I love horror films, and the scarier the better. And I'm always looking for the scariest, which is a topic for another conversation. But but horror games, I don't know what it is. It's something about, maybe it's like being chased. It's something about not being able to see around you, because that's how they get you in the games. Obviously, it's like something comes at you, turn and it's not, and turn and then it is there. And there's something about that when you're in control of it that it just completely freaks me out. So when I was younger, I never played them, but I was very aware of them. I had friends who did play them, and Resident Evil and all those kind of games. So I would happily watch them, because then it's like watching a movie.
Yeah.
So I was very aware of it. I remember seeing the first film when it came out in whatever year that was, and being kind of awestruck, because again, it's such a rich world of horror. You know, it does something really well, which I love in horror, which is blending the real world with a fantasy world. It's not completely fantasy, and it's not part of this world, you know, necessarily. So I think I was always really drawn to it for that sense. It's quite fantastical and rich, the creatures and the idea, and yet it's all, you know, it's all grounded in very human experiences and emotions that we can all relate to. So yeah, then when it came to this film, I really wanted to do my research, most of all on the game. I watched just loads and loads of YouTube videos, basically, of people playing it and the cut scenes, and I read all the Reddits and all the comments about people dissecting it and analyzing it and giving their interpretation of it, because I was just really intrigued what it meant to people on every level, you know, and there's no one answer to that. And as we all know nowadays on the internet, I'm sure we'll be told that our interpretation is wrong by some people, and some people it will be exactly right. So that's, you know, the beauty. You have to hopefully find the beauty of that. Otherwise, you'd have to quit the internet forever. As much as I could of the clips, so that I could try and emulate it. You know, there's a real like video game feel to the games, obviously, because they were early consoles, and I wanted that to be a part of it, while it still is also a physical thing that moves like an actual being, not lots of pixels.
No, exactly that. And I think you're right with what you say with the internet, is you're never going to please everyone. And there are people like me who the first movie I absolutely adore. It captured all of those feelings of dread that I had playing the video game as a kid. And I recently just started playing Silent Hill 2 in the lead up to this, because they've just remastered that. And I'm like, I'll download that. And even now, as a 40-year-old man, I'll take a corner in that game and the controller's like thrown up in my hand, and I'm like, oh my God. And it's something that I think Christophe seems to capture that and put that sense of impending doom into his movie. So you always feel on edge. It always feels like there's something that's going to happen. And he doesn't just drop it on you straight away. He teases it and makes you wait. And then when he does drop it, it's that sort of popcorn in your face moment as you jump up.
Dread is a really good word for it. You just use that. And actually, I'm working on this play at the moment, and it's a ghost story as well. So it's a scary theatre show, which is rarer, but a really wonderful thing when it's done well. And the director has some really interesting things to say about jump scares that I'd never heard it kind of this interpretation before, where he said the jump scares aren't just about scaring the audience. They're about a release of tension that you have built up as part of the means of telling the story. So you have to, in his opinion, you have to kind of time them and earn them in the correct ways, because people know if they've had been cheated into a jump scare, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And those are obviously great. Sometimes you get like trick ones in film or theatre to kind of mess with you or trick you or lure you into a false sense of security. But the main ones, he said, you build up so much tension with the music and with the eeriness and with the atmosphere and the set decoration and all sorts, that you have to allow it to be released so that the story can continue. And I think that applies really well to Silent Hill, because as you said, there's just a lot of like dread and eeriness and doom and impending, just kind of despair, I think, is a kind of good.
It is that kind of environment. Yeah, it gives you that sort of, oh, this is dark kind of feel to it. Going on to the stage production you're in, though, what stage production are you in, and where are you right now? Because I keep hearing what I think is a train.
Yes, apologies. That's the
No,
train line
it's
outside
fine.
my house, which I don't think about them anymore. I kind of they're my lullaby now. I'm in a play called A Ghost in Your Ear at the Hampstead Theatre in London, which unfortunately only has a few more weeks of the run. In fact, I think when this is out, it might be in the past. But very much worth looking into to see what you missed if you missed it. It's wonderful. It's by Jamie Armitage, and it's basically it's a guy recording a ghost story in a sound recording studio, and the play is set in the studio. It's behind glass, and it's all said into a binaural microphone, which is shaped like a human head. Binaural, and the audience all wear headphones. Binaural sound is where the microphone places sound in 3D space. So if he whispers in the left ear, you hear it in the left ear of your headphones, and then if he moves around it moves. So it really feels like there's someone moving around with you, and you can like get closer and further away. And so he's telling this story as if, well, he's recording an audiobook, and then it's a ghost story. So I'll leave it at that. Hopefully it will have further life somewhere else one day.
That sounds incredible. That's right up my street. That is.
Yeah, it's great. There seems to be quite a swell in horror theatre in London at the moment. I saw Paranormal Activity on stage just before the new year, which was so good. Some stage tricks. You just get, obviously you get jump scares and movie magic in film. Obviously, you know, there's practical effects and there's VFX effects and filming tricks and things. And then stage tricks are just a whole nother thing. They're more like magic. They're like illusions. You get illusionists who will come in and do stage tricks. And some of the ones in our show and in Paranormal Activity are like jaw-dropping, really, because it's happening right in front of your eyes, sometimes only a couple of meters away.
Yeah, and I think that's something really magic about theatre that I find is more magic in theatre than it is in film, because in theatre it happens there and then in front of your eyes, and you've got no time to sort of dissect how they've done it. But when it's done in film, you know there's been cut, no, let's do that again. Cut, right. No, let's do that again. And then there's all the movie magic that goes with it. So every time I've been to the theatre, like I saw Woman in Black not that long ago, and that where you get the woman in black appears in the audience sort of 10 rows down from you, like, how on earth did, like, I'm sat here, at no point did I see the woman in black make her way over there, but now she's screaming at me. And I always find theatre very immersive, a lot more immersive than film.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, like, just by definition, in a way, you're sat in a room squeezed in with people all around you. So it is immersive. I've done a lot of immersive theatre, which is its own branch of theatre, I suppose, in my past, which was still extremely popular nowadays. Lots of events nowadays all over the planet are kind of immersive events. But that kind of started, if we rewind a few years, with a big surge in immersive theatre, which was these companies like Punch Drunk and Secret Theatre, Secret Cinema, who do these shows where you are put into the action. And some of them are in different ways. If you're in a Punch Drunk show, the performers don't interact with you. It just happens around you and they move around and run off and you can chase after them. In Secret Cinema, it's very much about the audience are part of it and talking to the actors and can shape the story even, and can get dragged into rooms and given missions and all sorts of stuff. So I've done lots of that, and it's amazing. It's like skills as an actor that are completely different, obviously, for regular theatre or film. And it's so immediate, and you get these people who it's play, it's real. All acting is play in a way, but immersive theatre, improvised theatre is such immediate play because you just have to like do or die, really. Like you can't just be like, oh, sorry, can I do that again? If you're talking to the audience, you have to just go for it. So it's good fun.
Yeah, and you've done a lot of, I've said a lot of your work you've done involves a lot of makeup effects and a lot of prosthetics. Obviously, you've done Rings of Power, which was a lot of prosthetics, and you've now done Return to Silent Hill, and you've done lots of other works as well. Do you like the prosthetics, or is it a real slog? Is it sort of hours and hours every day, or are you kind of numb to it now?
I don't think I would have gone this far if I did not like it. I just don't think. I mean, I only say that because I have seen people put on a makeup and last a few hours and go, "Nah, take this off me, please," or like literally peel it off their face, which is not advised. Don't do that anyway. It's like a love-hate relationship with prosthetics, because there's always a moment where I'm like, I'm never going to do this again, but I also love it. I love the transformation of it. I think it links to that. I've always loved watching performances on stage or screen where they're completely transformative. You know, people like Gary Oldman, or who just like, and not in a creature sense, I mean, but they just if you get a collage of all the roles he or other performers like Tilda Swinton have played, they're just unrecognizable, you know. And it's like some of it is a physical transformation, but a lot of it is just the energy and the walk and the teeth and the whatever, and the accent. And I just love that. I think that's always just really grasped my attention. And so creature work is like a real extreme version of that, I suppose. It's like, how far can we completely transform this tall, gangly blonde man into something unrecognizable? And then how much can I bring to it? Because people are often quite bemused when I open my mouth, because often I can look like this horrifying beast, or like a massive brute thing, or like a vampire or something, and then they'll shout cut, and I'll be like, "Ooh, did I hit the mark? I'm so sorry. Did I bump into the lights?" This looks like very polite British man underneath it all. It was funny on Penny Dreadful, which was my first creature job 13 years ago, because I was painted head to toe. So I they gave me like a silk kimono to wear that wouldn't rub the paint, and it had like blue lace trim.
Yeah.
So it was the least threatening thing. We'd finished this horrible, I was so like animalistic and bestial and like snarling and spitting and drooling and blood and fangs and all of it. And then they'd call cut, and the British guy would ask for tea with his little powder blue kimono on. That was halfway down my sides.
That's fabulous. The thing is, though, you're not just creature work. Like, you've got a lot of things coming up, and there's one that you're the lead role in that I want to talk about, and I'm going to let you tell us all about the new film you have coming, because it's something very much away from what you've done previously.
It is. It's very exciting. It's a film called Medora, Empress of the Badlands, and it is a true story. It's from 1880s North Dakota. A Frenchman called the Marquis de Merez, Antoine, he turned up in North Dakota in the middle of nowhere when there was nothing in the Badlands where he was, and decided to make his fortune in cattle. So he built a slaughterhouse, he built all these paddocks, he reared all these cattle, he made a fortune. But then the local cowboys and the local townsfolk kind of basically got quite jealous and tried to kind of sabotage his business and brought him down, and it ended in a quite a fiery way in a very small amount of time. He was besotted with his wife Medora, who he named the town after that he built. And so it's a biopic. It's the story of this man, and I play the Marquis. Again, it was so special. I was the lead role. I was a human being. There were no monsters in sight, which occasionally I did miss. I only had like 20-30 minutes in the makeup chair, and it really threw me for the first few weeks. But again, in a way, it was its own transformation. You know, I wanted to research him. I wanted to research the time period. We had these incredible tailor-made 1880s costumes by the incredible costume department. I dyed my hair really dark brown. I grew a big curly mustache, which I've never done before, because normally it's like get rid of all hair that you have. So yeah, it was its own transformation, and I was in North Dakota in the Badlands for 2 months, riding horses and shooting rifles and sword fighting and all sorts. It was magical, really magical.
Oh, that's amazing. When does that come out? When can we get to see that?
It's going to be out in mid-April, I think, in Medora to start with, and then it will come out elsewhere after that. So mid-April onwards. Very exciting.
That's amazing. Your career is on a trajectory that I can see is just going like this. And if anyone goes and looks through your IMDb credits, it is not like many actors where it's an up and down. It's literally everything you do is taking you higher and higher and higher. And there's something that I've heard a whisper of that I asked you if we could talk about before. You're going to be working with Mr. Ty West.
I sure am. Talk about horror icon.
Yeah, when I saw that you were working with Ty West, I was instantly, what movie is that? And I had to do a fair bit of digging to uncover this, because this, as we're recording, isn't even on IMDb yet. You're going to be in Ebenezer, Ty West's Christmas movie.
Ebenezer, yeah, his take on A Christmas Carol, with Johnny Depp playing the title role, Ebenezer Scrooge, and I'm playing the ghost of Christmas Future, who is, again, I mean, if we're talking a completely different zone of horror, I suppose. If Pyramid Head is video game corner of horror, this is like classical Dickensian Victorian horror. One of the greats, and talk about dread as well. I read the book years ago, but I've just reread it really recently, and the chapter, it's so worth reading, even if you're not interested in the world. It's such a short book, and the way he paints dread with the arrival of the ghost of future, who doesn't speak and is this ominous Grim Reaper like presence, is another iteration of how we paint this kind of doom. So yeah, that's very exciting indeed, and to step into a kind of an iconic role with some incredible performers. The whole cast is unbelievable, so that should be very exciting too.
I mean, being able to be directed by Ty West and work with the likes of Johnny Depp, like that's huge, and I'm really pleased for you. Like, everything I looked at what you've done, literally everything you've been in, I like. And every role you've delivered, I'm like, I really like that character. I really like that character. And I'm really excited for what comes next for you. When we're recording this, I've not seen the film yet, because we're recording this prior to the release. I'm at the first screening available. And I'm excited. I'm excited, one, to see what you can bring to Pyramid Head, because he's kind of underutilized a lot throughout the games and everything else. And I know the charm of him is that he is sporadic and he is the overarching baddie, and when he arrives it's like, oh, we're all in trouble now. And I'm interested to see how you bring that character to life, because I don't think a lot of people realize, and from the angle you're sat now, you are a really big guy. Like, you are a tall guy, and you're a big guy to take on that role, and it just works.
Yes, yeah. I think I'm 6'5" and ish and a bit. So that has been, a big component of the career I've had. I'm not going to do myself down and say it's only that. Hopefully, it's some kind of talent and resilience too. But I think that practically it is a huge part of it with creature work. And yeah, this one was very different actually in a way. Like I am very tall. I'm not super massive. So actually, a lot of the roles I've done, especially when I was a bit younger, are really like gangly and spindly. This guy is like a real juggernaut. He's kind of a he's a brute, and a lot of it was a lot of my work physically was all about the weight of it. The sword, the helmet, his own physicality. You don't want any lightness, any kind of flightiness, or like floatiness if you're talking Laban efforts. So that's what I tried to bring to it was, and that's the fun for me. I worked with Roberto Campanella, who I want to give a shout out to, because he was the movement director on the film. So he did all the creature movement, and he played Pyramid Head in the first film with Christophe, and the other Silent Hill film as well. So I mean, who better? Who else possibly could have been better to be in my ear and be kind of tutoring me through how to bring the character to life.
Yeah, what a mentor to have. That's just sort of that's the dream mentor. Instead of someone who's never done it, you've got someone who's done it twice and done it well twice, which is amazing. Is there anything you would like to tell us about, or that you would like to plug out into the world for everyone to go and see? Is there anything you want people to focus on? Obviously, Return to Silent Hill. We know that's the one that you want everyone to go and see now. But what else is there that you want people to focus on about you and about your career?
Great question. No one's ever asked me that before. I mean, we've talked about other projects that I've got coming up. There is another film that will be at some point called Legacy, which is by another kind of film horror icon, David Slade. So I won't say
Oh,
much more
wow.
about that, but that's in the pipeline as well. Yeah, what else would I say? I mean, I love it. I suppose this isn't really answering your question, but I love it when I meet people at conventions or wherever, and people obviously want to talk about Silent Hill or Lord of the Rings or Wheel of Time, even, and things like that. But when people come with the kind of really niche stuff that I've done over the years, that is so joyous. So I've done films like The Jack in the Box and Boys from County Hell. I mean, there's even a film called The Nightman of Nevermore. It was, I think, literally the first job I ever did, which is like a kind of alien movie. Yeah, so every now and then someone will come, or like an episode of Red Dwarf I did. So people, there's always fans of these things that pop up, and I love it when people talk about that stuff. It's good fun.
Yeah, and Jack in the Box is another movie that I actually really like. I watched that not that long ago, and it wasn't until prepping to interview you that I realised that was you. I was like, oh my God, that's another one that you've done. You are at a convention. Is it Horrified you're at this year?
Yes, it is in May, I believe.
Yeah, which is Crawley, I believe.
Yes, that's right. I can't remember the dates off the top of my head, but yeah, Horrified. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there are any listeners in the UK who want to go and meet Robert, go head over to Horrified, buy your tickets, and go and meet Robert there.
Cosplay as well. I'd love, like, you know, the odd people who've come in cosplay of something I've done. There's the most incredible, actually a shout out, I'll do the most incredible Eelfin cosplay from the Wheel of Time that someone has done, which it was a while ago now, but that was incredible. So when people come in any cosplay of things, that's obviously incredibly exciting. And Pyramid Head is obviously quite an iconic one for all the cosplays. I see them all on Instagram as well. Like, I get tagged in lots or sent lots, but even the ones I don't get sent, I see them and I will find them, and I save them all in a little folder. So
that's amazing.
So yeah, I love them.
Thank you very, very much for joining us. It's been an honor to have you on. I wish you all the luck as your career continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, thank you very much for joining us, because I imagine in 5 years' time, when you're lavishing the leading roles in Hollywood, you won't have time for us small podcasts anymore.
Hey, now I'll be back. Write to me and I'll be back.
That's fabulous. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Enjoy the film, everyone. Thank you.
Again, huge thank you to Robert for coming on. Like, Robert's such a nice guy. Go and support him. Like, all of his links to everything he does and is in the episode bio. Links to his page and links to like everything that is Robert Strange is on that link. So many cool things. Like, this guy's going to be like, he's gone from strength to strength to strength, and with stuff he's got coming at the end of the year and into next year, like, he's going to be a regular face. I said it in the interview. When he's super famous, he's not even going to talk to us. And remember what Robert said. Bear in mind, we just bashed the shit out of the movie. Robert did say, when he's super famous, call him and he'll come back. So fingers crossed we've not burnt our bridges, because
I don't think so. I think we spoke highly about him throughout the episode, and rightly so. He was great in the movie. So
yeah,
fingers crossed.
And the same as when we done Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and we had the car, I can't remember her name, Natasha, whatever her name was, from that, when she came on. Like, we bashed that movie and then we interviewed her, and I think it says a lot about us that even though we have guests, we don't just pander and go, this is amazing because we have this guest. We're always authentic.
I think so, and I think it speaks length for what we try and do here, you know. And it doesn't matter who comes on the show and who is a guest spot. Whether the movie's good or bad, we will always be honest and genuine with you as our listeners. We wouldn't just do it just to get people to come on, thinking that, oh, well, we're going to go on that show because at least it'll glorify the movie. That's not the case here. We don't do that.
No, which is why we'll probably never get the likes of Robert England and others, because
no, I mean, to be honest with you, if we got Robert England, I might be willing to bend the truth slightly.
No, see, I still wouldn't. It is what it is. I say it as I say it, and people like it or lump it. As you've got your own little like musical intro, I done myself one for 3-word review. I've not done a video because I'm not that posh, but let's do 3-word review. I like it. Yeah,
nice.
it's good. 3-word review this week. I would like to say it's a mixed bag, but it's really not. Dave B Movies went with beautiful but boring. Nate Mayer went with should have stayed silent.
Nice, I like that one.
Mermaid Christian misunderstood the assignment.
Yeah. Definitely.
BP at Let's Talk Horror, awful fake beard. We've got Brooklyn Joey, straight booty cheeks. AJ Mank, wait until Tubi.
Yeah, I wouldn't even wait for that, to be honest.
Folk horror phenomenon went with not very scary. And finally, Kate, who's well, everyone knows who Kate is. She's been on the show as a guest, in fact, co-host. She's been a Patreon member forever and knows how 3-word review works. She went with 4 words, but I wanted to include it because it's Kate. Kate is now following Beck and being a little bit pervy and went with nice arms pyramid head.
Brilliant.
Which could have quite easily been nice arms Robert. So Robert, you have a fan. Someone likes your arms. Well, it's that time of the show, Mark's favorite time of the show. It's time for the VHS hunt.
Let's take a punt on the VHS hunt. I don't care what you say. Mark is not a...
I still can't make my mind up on what that is.
Funnily enough, we've had some we've skipped voicemails this week. We'll do them next week, but we've had a few people who've called in and added the final word. So if anyone else listening to this has got a final word they want to add to that, I might alternate them each week.
Right, so that's going to be a theme now, is it?
Yeah. So Mark is not a what?
Excellent. Right, so this week on the VHS hunt, it's a difficult one because every week I try and incorporate at least a movie that I think well fits the episode. Obviously, some of them are going to be obscure, and I'm going to try and make really random links. However, this week wasn't as difficult as you might think. Silent Hill was never released on VHS. However, there is a game franchise that was released on VHS, and a substantially better one, in my opinion. And that is Resident Evil.
This is a crime. This is a crime. I have a Silent Hill. Right there. I'll get it. We'll talk about that. What is that?
This is by far the superior video game adaptation in terms of the two. Don't get me wrong, this franchise goes wayward within its later movies, but this first movie is very, very solid, and it's a very, very cool movie, and one that I'm very happy to own, but one that is even more prized in terms of my collection is Resident Evil Apocalypse. This is a very rare tape to obtain, especially in the rental version. I don't think it actually got a retail version because it was right on the brink of the DVD release.
Is Apocalypse the one that's got Apocalypse in it, and he comes up to the building, he's like
Nemesis? Yeah, with a big grenade launcher.
Yeah, and he's got he walks up and it does the almost RoboCop thing where it targets all the people, and he's like stars.
It's shit up, man. It's the one where you've got the church scene and the liquor burst in through the church roof. Very, very cool movie. Very rare movie to obtain. This is one of the rarer pieces in my entirety of my collection. As I said, mentioned, it's just on the cusp of stopping VHS, and this is probably one of the last of the VHS segments made. I know there's a lot of them out there that were within this era, but in terms of horror, this is a difficult one to obtain. So yeah, if you want to watch a decent horror franchise that's based on a video game, check out Resident Evil.
Oh, and that was the VHS hunt.
Let's take a punt on the VHS hunt. I don't care what you say. Mark is not a...
I'm not looking forward to those voice notes.
and to be fair, you are after sitting here showing Resident Evil shit on the Silent Hill episode. That is fine. that is it for this week. You'll find links to the legend that is Robert Strange in the bio. Like, he's such a nice guy, so talented, and like, go and show him support, because whatever you think of this movie, he's the best fucking thing in this movie by miles.
Agreed.
Like, take everything else away, strip it all down. Give me Pyramid Head chasing James through the apartments. This is a 4-star movie.
Yeah, Christophe Gans did him dirty in this.
Massively so. Also, don't forget to leave us a review. Drop your comments on an episode. You can do that here on Spotify. You can do it on YouTube. I've even got a little thing for YouTube. Like, look, you can like and subscribe. So do that as well. Yeah, I thought it was really fancy. Should I do it again? Look how posh that is. Like, anyone who's not watching, it's pretty. I've got another one as well, which is that one.
Q&A.
Yeah, you can ask us questions.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, you could do that.
People can click on that thing there, and it'll take you to a questionnaire.
No, it's not that posh.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, don't fucking big it up to be something it's not. Then it's just an animation.
We're going to be back next week, hopefully with lots more of your voicemails. Don't forget to call in and tell us what Mark is or what he's not. You can do that on Instagram or on X by leaving us a voicemail DM, or you can record a TikTok and just tag us in it, and we'll take the audio from there. Next week we're going to be back covering a movie that I'm really excited for this episode, and one that I think we probably should have done as a new release. I think we missed out on this. We're going to be covering The Substance.
The joy of this is I know you love this movie.
Oh, unconditional.
And I still haven't seen it.
Have you not seen it yet?
Nope. Still not seen it. No, I've still not seen it. Again, I don't watch newer release movies, you know. I watch fucking shitty VHS tapes. I'm excited for it. It is one that I want to watch. You know, it is one that I do really, really want to watch. And I've heard a lot of good things. And you've been championing it to me for such a long period of time as well. So I'm glad that it's finally got onto the show, because I now have a reason to sit down and watch it. So yeah, I'm excited to see what next week brings. I think I will like this one.
I hope you do, because otherwise,
I'd be surprised if I don't.
It's going to be like 28 years later all over again, but worse.
No, it's not going to be that bad, surely.
But yeah, until then, have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you next time.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
See you all next Tuesday.
You want to die tonight?
Late at night, I tune into your show where you talk horror with a unique flow. Your voice is like sirens, draws me in as you pick apart movies on murder and sin. Scott and Mark set the scene. I hang on every word, lost in the screen. Your passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Mark's fucking long round up. You run podcasts, horror movie reviews, sharing facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after you fled. You run podcasts.